Welcome back, viewers. So, to follow with our series of parents asking me the question of, can I really teach my toddlers? Can I teach my children, period, without all the extras and the bells and the whistles? Can I teach them with simple teaching tools like learning boards and flashcards and just pieces of paper and pencils? And I gave them the answer of yes. And so today I want to go into detail with a specific learning tool that I use for my toddlers that is extremely helpful. Not only does it organize everything for you, but it gives you many different ways to kind of go over information and deliver it to your toddler or to your child. So for those who don't know me, my name is Kelly Austin and this is Teaching for Tots. Stay tuned, we're going to go over learning. So today we're going to talk about learning boards. And I'm so excited to talk about learning boards because learning boards can be so helpful. As you see in the background, I have a learning board here that's made for a little girl. This particular learning board is not an interactive learning board. It's more of just an educational preschool learning board. So we have shapes on one side, numbers at the bottom of it. We have the an area where mom can put the name, an area where mom can put the birthday. We have a sample of colors, some of the just primary colors, and then we have an assortment of all the letters. We have capital and lowercase together, so they can be able to work on identification. Notice that I don't have any pictures of one of these letters, because if you've been watching my videos, you know that I don't recommend teaching children pictures associated with letters. I recommend teaching children just the letters themselves. So that is, once again, to remind parents, that is the letter name, the letters picture, which is in this case the letter C, what it looks like, its picture, and then its sound. Those are the three parts to learning a letter and learning the alphabet itself. So notice I don't have any pictures. And then on this side we have the days of the week and the months of the year, just for this particular child that I made this board for. Now, in my business in S.M.I.L.E.D, when parents order boards from me, I customize them to fit that child's need, whether that child is in first grade or kindergarten or pre-K or preschool, or in my case with my babies at home, toddlers, a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old. And so what I'm going to do is today I'm going to go over my toddler's board, and I'm also going to give you guys a couple clips at the end of this video to show you me working with my toddler and what I do in order to work with him and how that has been successful for me. So let's jump right in. So this is my toddler's board, a little crazy because he's used it so much. And so you'll notice on here, we don't have, this is a reading board. It's an interactive reading board. And the reason why it's an interactive board is because if you notice, we have a lot of these little white sticky areas. And that Velcro is for them to be able to stick on the right answer when we're playing games or when we're going through information, basically. So we have shapes, names here. We have birthdays here, Gabriel's birthday and Isaiah's birthday. Then we have the months of the year here. And then in the middle, same as the other board, we have the letters. But at the bottom of Isaiah's and Gabriel's interactive learning board, we have, we're doing blending because Gabriel is working on blending. Now Isaiah used this exact same board when he turned 2, and so it's a year or so old, but we did the exact same thing. And so we right now we're working on these blending sounds, and when Isaiah was 2, he started off with blending sounds and he started with some very similar ones. And so it just gives them a chance to learn these sounds. So like, for example, on the board, you may see that he has SH here. And so then next to there, he can put words that go into the SH family, the sh family. At the top of our board, we have our right hand, our left hand. Because Gabriel and Isaiah, by the time they're 2 years old, they already know their numbers. They already know, they can already recognize their numbers. They can already recognize their colors. They already recognize their shapes. when I make their board at 2 years old, I make it a reading board. So they're starting to learn words and identifying words and letters when they're put together, and what those letters when they're put together, what those words are. And so on their pictures, what they would have is they would have the numbers, because they can recognize the numbers. And what they have to do is they have to match those numbers to these words, like 10 and 9 and 12 and 13. And so that's what we're actually working on at this moment with both Isaiah and Gabriel. And then we also have the days of the week at the top. And then the same for the other side. On the other side, it's the exact same way. We have the words of the shapes, because they already know their shapes. They've already mastered them. So when they see pictures of their shapes, they know exactly what it is. They know the crescent. They know the octagon, hexagon, pentagon, trapezoid. They know these shapes. 2D shapes and 3D shapes, which I showed you guys last week on their wall. And so since they already know this, what I'm doing with them is I'm teaching them how to read these words, how to identify these words. And so that's what makes their board a little different. But like I said, when I make boards, I recommend it to parents too, when they make boards for their kids, is to customize the board to what the results is that you would like to see. So if you want them to work on reading, make them a reading board. If you want them to focus on letters or numbers and colors, then add that into their board. And whether it's interactive or just a learning board, the reality is a great teaching tool. And you just have to know how to use it and when to use it. So, for example, I'm going to do a little bit of the learning board, and I'm going to just show you guys some of the ways that I would do it with my child. So if I'm going over any of this information, whether it be shapes or the numbers or the letters, I'm going to be asking them questions like, can you find me? And I will give them a little pointer, and then, or they use their finger, but usually I give them a little pointer, because kids love, they love pointing at stuff. They love touching stuff. They love coming hands on, and you want them to focus on what you're teaching them. Like I said, you don't need all the bells and whistles. You don't have to do all the singing and the dancing and making up songs and, giving out rewards. Something as simple as playing school. Like when we were kids, I know when I was a kid, I played school a lot with my siblings, and I basically do the exact same thing with my kids today. And so I would just give them a pointer, and we would go over the information. And so, like, for example, with the letters, as I was teaching my son Gabriel the letters before he turned 2, I would go over the letters first, tell him each letter: capital A, lowercase capital B, lowercase b, capital C, lowercase c, or capital D, lowercase d. Now notice that I use the word capital a lot. And I've told you guys this in previous videos. You have to figure out what these letters' names are. You cannot confuse children with big and little, or big and lowercase, or mama C and baby C, or however you like to say it. You can't confuse them. Whatever you decide to call these letters is what you have to kind of stick with. Now, what I recommend to my parents in my parent coaching program is that if you're going to teach your child the letters and you don't want them to have to go back and relearn anything, teach them the way the school system is going to prepare them in school. That's just the reality. Because in school, they call these letters capital and lowercase. That's what they say. I understand that it's kind of easier to say uppercase and lowercase just because of like the rhyming letters and things of the nature and the roll off the tongue. But it's not realistic, because when they get to school, they don't call it that. And some kids, once again, they get confused by that, or, they misunderstand it. And so, and we already have so many other things that kids are going to get confused by. So we don't want to add to that. So I go through the letters. That's what I do first. So when I was teaching my kids these letters, I would go through the letters. Actually, what I would do is, if this was their board, which this is a board that I would actually do for my 1-year-old, because typically this is the information that I'm teaching my 1-year-old. By the time my kids are 2, all this information on this particular board, I want them to already know everything on here. And I can show you guys the other side, which is just the shapes, and then it has the numbers at the bottom. And so what I typically do is I actually go over the whole entire board. So I would say shapes, we're going to review shapes, and we will review the shapes. Sometimes I would do it in the beginning, I may do it in order, but as time goes on, I mix around. I may start at the beginning, I may start at the middle, I might jump around. I do the same thing with the numbers, the letters, the colors, the days of the week, and the months of the year. Now, after I go over that information, I then begin to pick an area that I want to focus on. And so let's say that I decide today I'm going to go over the alphabet first, and then I'm going to go over numbers, and then I'm going to go over shapes. When I'm going over that information individually, what I do is I go over it again, but now this time I have them repeat after me. So, and for my kids personally, at 1 year old, they cannot repeat after me. Their speaking, their language is not completely developed well enough to be able to repeat after me. So I let them do the best they can. And typically it sounds like gibberish, but I let them do the best they can. So if they make a sound after me, I let that be, okay? Just so for parents who are wondering, like, well, she said she goes over this at 1 year old. Are her kids talking at one? No, they're not. Matter of fact, I have 4 boys for people who don't know me. I have 4 boys, and all of my boys, none of them start speaking until after 2. None of them. But they were still all reading by 3. And so that's how I know this method works. And I've done it for years, not just with my own kids, but with others. And so I go over the letters, I'm having them kind of repeat after me. And I have them point to it. I'll use their finger or I'll use a pointer, give them a pointer and let them point to it. And I'll say, this is the capital A, this is the lowercase a, and I help them point to it. Them pointing to it helps me to understand that they're focused on what I'm telling them and they're receiving the information. Because I know right now they can't repeat after me. Now, by the time they're 2, by the time they get closer to 2, they can kind of repeat this. Well, actually, by the time they're 18 months, between 18 months and 2 years old, they can say the sounds. So all my kids were able to say their sounds before they were 2 years old. And my current 2-year-old, before he could even say some of the letters, like some of the letters were hard for him to pronounce, Q being one of them. He has a very hard time. Even today, he's been 2 for about a month now, and even today he still has a little of a hard time saying the letter Q. But he says all the sounds very perfectly because it comes off the tongue. It's, and it's actually teaching your kids the sounds really help with their speech, actually. So I tell parents who think they have issues with their child's speech to teach them the sounds, teach them the letter sounds, help them blend words, help them pronounce, work on their pronunciation. And so we would go over all the letters that way. And then after that, then what we would do is we would go and I would pick out letters off and on. Typically I would do their name just because I want them to learn the letters that's in their name. But sometimes I'll do other random letters. And we'll just go over those letters and those sounds and picking them out. And then we might even use some flashcards to match up with them. So I might give him some flashcards, basically a printout of the same exact letters. And I would say, can you find this letter? Helping them to identify what the letter is. This is the letter H. And then also helping them to match the pictures. So like a matching. And I would do that with all the areas. So that's something that you can actually do with your learning board. Now, there's many other things that you can actually go into as far as doing with your learning board. If you're doing colors, some things you can do with the colors is I'm picking colors. I might say, and I try to do things that's very cost effective. So I don't expect parents to be out buying all kind of stuff, making all kind of stuff. Everything that I do with my kids, I pretty much is homemade. I very rarely buy education stuff, with the exception of like the posters that I have on their walls because I also have a school center. But I'm very cost effective. So when I'm looking at their colors, I may say, let's play I Spy. Help me find something that's black. I spy something that's red. Or I spy something that's this color. What color is that? Or I spy something that's this color. What color is that? And then they would look around the room, or if we're in the room or I want to use the whole house, I'll say, let's find something in the house that has this color, and they'll try to find something and bring it out. Or sometimes what I'll do is I'll bring out blocks. I love blocks. And the reason why is because I can use the blocks for the colors, I can use the blocks for the numbers, and I can switch over from colors to numbers and say, hey, what number is this? Pointing to the number 2 or number 3 and say, can you find me 3 blocks? Let's count out 3 blocks. Or what number is this? This is the number 6. Let's count out 6 blocks. Or for a lot of my 3-year-old Isaiah, we did a lot with his fingers, kind of getting him used to his fingers and playing with his fingers. And now at 3 years old, he's really good about counting on his fingers, and which has really helped him with math, because as he's doing math and he's doing just addition and subtraction at this point, but he's pretty good with addition and subtraction between the numbers of 0 and 10 because he uses his fingers, and he's so used to using his fingers and counting on his fingers. And he actually uses his fingers to tap out words. So it's really been helpful to kind of tie that in. It's just so many different things that you can kind of do. So parents who are watching this video, viewers, if you guys have any questions regarding learning boards, activities, please leave a comment below and I will definitely respond back to you. People have messaged me and asked me different ideas for activities they can do with their kids with their learning boards, or just teaching styles, let me know. I would definitely work with you. And you guys all know that I do the parent coaching program, so you can always reach out to me about the parent coaching program, and I can walk you right through to your goal for whatever that is for your child, whether it be reading, writing, math, behavior, or pre-K readiness. Okay? All right. And so I want to go over this board a little bit as well, just because basically what I love about the reading board is just the opportunity to be able to truly master reading. So in my son's reading board, we didn't just work on letters, as you see. We also focused on sounds and building words. And so if you notice down here at the very bottom, I have a lot of these little stickers, and I have little word blends and word families. And so what we would do is we would go through and create word families. And so in this next video, you will see Isaiah building words. Now, this video was taken back when he was getting ready to turn 2. He was getting ready to turn 2 years old. He was already, yeah, he had just turned 2, actually. He wasn't getting ready to turn 2. He had just recently turned 2. And so what he was doing was he was building words. He had already mastered all of his sounds, and he was in that next step of building words. So he was putting together 2-letter, 3-letter, and 4-letter words, and looking at family blends, and looking at how to blend different words with different sounds. And so you'll see that in this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys felt that this information was helpful, and I hope that you guys are able to use it at home, because our goal is to get our kids a great head start, and not just a great head start, but a head start that's going to be strong and successful and lead them to success. You guys have a great day, and I hope you enjoy. See you guys next week. All right, Isaiah, can you sound that word out? At. Very good. So, do you know what sound this makes? So, if you put this in front of at, what word is that? Can you sound it out?
Sat.
Sat. Very good. What about this P? What if you put that P right there? What sound does that make?
At. Pat.
Very good. What about this M? What word would that be?
M and an O.
Sound it out. Isaiah, can you sound this word out for me? What sound does M make?
At. Mat.
Very good. What about B? What if I put a B there? What sound does B make? Say it out loud. Do it in your mind. Say it out loud.
The B.
What sound does B make?
B. At. That.
Very good. And what about this F? What if I put an F here? What? Very good. And then what about, did I do C yet? What word is that?
Set.
Well, yes, the C makes the S sound, but C also makes another sound. What other sound does it make? Or it makes, exactly, K. So if we go K.
At. Pat.
Very good. And what about
This letter H.
yeah, the letter H? What sound would it be now?
At. Fat.
Say it again. No.
At. Fat.
No.